I'm back. Happy Memorial Day, guys. But, you know, I think I've seen the end times, my friends. When I was flying back to America, I saw about 1,000 old people coughing maniacally. So whatever Wuhan is cooking up this time for round 2, it must be diabolical. But in any case, I'm back from Italy. How was it? I'll put it like this. Within half an hour of leaving the train station just outside of Rome, there were about 3 different pickpocket attempts on the people I went with. So, you know, I've never seen a desire for wealth that bad in my entire life anywhere. And, you know, nigga, I've been to Africa before, and they don't got nothing there, man. So, you know, if I continue speaking about my experiences in Italy, I might get a little racist. No, I'm kidding. Aside from that, I had fun. You know, good times, good times. Anyway, 3.3, what are my initial thoughts? You know, can be summed up in this one clip.
For battle, these hands were not meant.
Bro, stop it. Y'all not gonna take cartoonists from me, dog.
Future, they are needed.
Bro.
To the final moment.
No.
I will fight.
I will say, the funniest shit about the quest was last quest, Lygus said if he and Herta were to fight, he might not win, but, you know, he can take her down with him. Good old mutually assured destruction. It sort of just ended there, but this quest, we learned Herta left Amphoreus, came back with Screwllum, and they sort of just together 2v1'd annihilated the poor some bitch. I don't know, that's just funny to me, man. The Flame Reaver is clearing everyone and is speaking odd words. Why? Phainon's name is blurred. Why? Phainon almost finally reveals what it was he has that weighs more than the fate of the world. Why? Cyrene is back from the dead. Why? March 7th is somehow, somewhere on Amphoreus trapped. Why? The entire world of Amphoreus could very well be a simulated world crafted by an emperor scepter. Why? Questions. My third favorite thing behind the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and sodomy. The story starts at the vortex of Genesis. We find ourselves alone in deep thought about our journey on Amphoreus thus far, but are interrupted by Cipher, who requests our assistance with some treasure hunting in Styxia. When we arrive, we notice something's wrong. Strange noises can be heard from afar, and at the entrance to the city, we find a black cloth we recognize as the Flame Reavers. The old adage, speak of the devil and he shall appear, rings true, and thus, so too does Amphoreus' unstoppable Reaper, the Flame Reaver. We begin to panic. The Flame Reaver then meows and laughs, cause it's Cipher prank. We ask how she pulled off that little magic trick, and she says it's a bit more than a disguise. You know, when we saw the black cloth, we assumed it belonged to the Flame Reaver. So thus, when we heard the footsteps behind us, we again assumed they belonged to the Flame Reaver. So to us, the Flame Reaver was there because we assumed him to be there. And that's why Cipher was able to assume his form, even if it was a lie. This is the power of the Titan of Trickery. If everyone believes in a lie, then it becomes real. The Phainon then texts us asking him to meet at the Grove, but Cipher says not just yet, cause we still need to find some treasure with her. We ask why she always wants money, and she says she doesn't actually spend it. You see, because her death stated she'd walk with greed and die over petty change, she surmised if she keeps collecting, she won't have to care about petty change. If she doesn't hurt people in pursuit of her treasures, she won't walk with greed. She's running from fate. Something, appointment in Samara. Some days pass and the shot switches over to Lygus with Dawn hung at the crashed express car. They're talking about the sky and Aquila and how that Titan was always going to be the last one confronted, because as soon as their core flame is yoinked, the sky is going to become messy. But with Aquila gone, the Trailblazers can once again return home, so all they have to do is finish the flame chase journey and defeat the Sky Titan. Lygus then says something interesting. He says he can fully repair the express car and then we can be on our way immediately. But when we point out the real problem is Aquila not letting anyone leave Amphoreus, he provides us with a hypothetical question. If he right now gave us a path that circumvents Aquila's divine punishments, would we leave and give up the flame chase? We ask how he can do this. He refuses to answer, but says he can make it happen. Dan Heng senses Lygus' request has nothing to do with the Council of Elders and rather is a personal one. Lygus continues, our support of the flame chase journey comes into conflict with certain interests. Dan Heng then states there's too many unknowns regarding Lygus' plan. Most of all, Lygus himself, whose background and past have no records in all of Amphoreus. It's then figures cloaked in black appear, and Lygus states he's nothing to do with them as he's the Theoros and always stays neutral, so in turn, he won't stop them either. Dan Heng then sort of just states, the Nameless are seeing the flame chase through to the end, and then we swap to Phainon and us at the Grove Library, where reading books and learn Mem coincidentally happens to share a liking for tarot card readings, just like Phainon's old friend, Cyrene. It's then Phainon says something odd. He turns to us and asks if we remember Orynyx's riddle. The one, about something that weighs more than the fate of the world.
Something that has more weight than the fate of the world.
No, Lord Phainon. There must be some other way. A more comprehensive way. Even if our time is tight.
It seems like he's ready to tell us what he was prepared to give up, that panicked Castorus, but niggas in black then interrupt. Phainon calls them cleaners and tells us they were an underground assassin squad that just went around killing Chrysos heirs during the Chrysos War. We then swap on over to Tribby and Hyacin, who have founded a new Twilight courtyard right here. Lovely. They speak about the importance of the courtyard to Hyacinth's people, the descendants of the sky. It's once said someone named Celiose, a Day Thunder Knight, slayed the Sky Titan 1,000 years ago, which ended the war between Nicator and Aquila. The Sky Temples were then abandoned, and it's then the Sky Folk who used to reside in them came to lands. The ones who descended from Celiose herself went to the grove under Xerxes and established a Twilight courtyard. Hyacin is one of her descendants, although Tribby states she doesn't quite remember it going down like that. It's then Okrateros appears and states violent crimes are on the rise in Akama because people are sensing Aglaea's hold over Akama weakening due to, I don't know, the bitch getting old, I guess. It's then another person shows up who says Aglaea is in trouble, so we swap shots over to Aglaea, who's being visited by some cleaners and Kindness herself. They refuse to fight Aglaea head-on, because, they get slice-a-diced, and instead suggest they'd start killing civilians. Aglaea points out the hilarious irony in her plan, as Kindness has long accused Aglaea of being indifferent towards humans. Kindness then has Aglaea read her mind to discover her real plan, which is to blind a deaf and mute child Aglaea befriended. God damn! Cruel bitch. Aglaea then sort of just gives in and ominously walks towards an edge, and we swap on over to a young Cipher who's brought jewels to Aglaea's workshop, hoping to get some of her expensive clothing. Aglaea asks how the little one got these jewels, and Cipher says she won him in a bet. Aglaea is stunned, because despite Cipher so obviously lying, her threads move not a centimeter. However, Aglaea then points to the scars and mud on Cipher's face to prove she's lying. Cipher says she's left no evidence behind, which Aglaea doubts, but takes the treasure anyway. In return, Aglaea gives Cipher some boots of quickness imbued with Zagreus' power that let her run fast. We learn this is all a story Cipher is telling to her good friend Bartolos. The two are in Styxia, back on the hunt for treasure. The two seemingly find a magnificent treasure chest filled with rare gems and the sort, but sadly it's fake cause Cipher prank. The two then have an interesting interaction at a hand of Zagreus where Bartolos seemingly almost claimed the device as his own, but Cipher quickly shuts him up, stating the trick should never be exposed. Along the way, Bartolos inquires about Cipher's stint as an apprentice at Dawncloud. Cipher seems stunned at this revelation, but carries on and states she just wanted to steal the wallets from the priests. Bart asks her if she ever heard anything odd, but she brushes it off. A while later, Cipher tells Bartolos she has an answer to his question about hearing something odd at the court, but Bartolos states he doesn't recall ever asking anything, which clues Cipher into what's going on here. When the two come across another chest, Cipher pulls something out of the back of Bart, a golden beetle, and states Aglaea is listening to them right now. Aglaea apologizes for the, fallouts and relationship dynamic between herself and Cipher, and then states her silence stole the most beautiful sound she'd ever known, which prompts Cipher to remark, Hysilens, who, as we found out last chapter, is dead. Aglaea states her time is quickly running out, and as such the Chrysos heirs will need Cipher and pleads with her to return to Akama. Aglaea then states she will never see her again, and the two say goodbye. Bart is sad, for no treasures, and Cipher reveals she never told Bartolos about her stint at Dawn Cloud, which is when she realized something was off. She then reveals that Bart's true identity is that of the trickery titan Zagreus. Cipher tricked the entire world during her trial, and right now, she's the only person who knows Zagreus still lives. We get another flashback, this time to a bleeding Cipher who's bleeding golden blood, meaning she's a Chrysos heir. Aglaea, concerned for the little one's safety, lets her take refuge in her shop. Back with Dan Heng, we learn he still hasn't fought the cleaners. Dan Heng states these guys would go as far as using alchemy to transfer their memories into successors so that their identity can live on. For instance, we are on the 27th Kainos. It's then Kratos appears and states, Aglaea has died. Over to Phainon, we did fight the cleaners, all but one. We learn, however, the cleaners are just here to stall us, and it's then we learn over the phone, Aglaea has died, and we are to return to Akama at once. Phainon becomes enraged, but tempers it. Over to my nigga Cartonis, who's currently crafting a new sword for Phainon. He's being visited by Aglaea in the form of a beetle who confirms her physical form has died. She asks Cartonis to condense her divinity into the bracelet that the deaf girl gave her earlier, and he obliges. Back on over to us, we wonder how Aglaea could have died to some cleaners. While talking to Kratos, he states all anyone saw was Aglaea fall from the baths. However, she was stabbed through the hearts by a cleaner's dagger. We meet up with Hyacinth, who we learn was the one who declared Aglaea dead. We meet up with Tribby, who states no one's to blame and that Aglaea left a letter behind for Phainon, which, it pretty much just gasses the kid up to lead in her stead. The letter does, however, state her hold over Akama weakening wasn't a result of her getting old or losing her edge, but rather needing to appear weak so that the cleaners would target her. She also states she needed to die a public death to thrust the cleaners out in the open and have the city of Akama turn against them. This was all planned. Phainon is reborn as a stern leader upon reading the letter and orders a meeting soon for all the people of Akama. Cartonis appears and gives Phainon the sword he made for him that he named Dawnmaker. He then also hands Phainon the bracelet, now imbued with the remaining divinity of Aglaea, so she'll always be with us. Some time passes and the city meeting comes, which just sees Phainon delivering his I Have a Dream speech. Phainon then reflects on all the people he's had to say goodbye to along the journey and how he'll see them in the next life. But then, one more person appears, Cyrene, who says she was right and that in this story, Phainon became the deliverer. A few days later, Cipher once again is thinking of the past. Little Cipher asks Aglaea what's the rarest gem, and she responds, the gem of all worlds, something that's alleged to have fallen from the Dawn device over onto the Dawn Cloud. Aglaea senses Cipher wanting to sneak onto Dawn Cloud, find the gem, sell it, and give the money to the poor, which prompts Cipher to ask Aglaea if she's reading her thoughts. Aglaea questions if this is the right path, which prompts Cipher to respond.
What else am I supposed to do? That's the only thing I can do with my power. You keep talking about how I have the potential to become a good person, or even what people call a hero. But I don't know what I need to do to get there! I can't weave golden dresses like you! I can't sing as well as Miss Hysilens! And I definitely don't know as much as Big Sis Treby! The only things I'm good at are the underhanded street smarts that no one even respects. But I still want to be worthy of you.
I know, Cipher. I know.
Aglaea, I just want everyone to believe that the world is beautiful and that everyone is simple and kind. If only I could get everyone to believe that. Would that lie become reality? If enough people believed in it, even though it's a lie.
Lies will always be lies, Cipher, but sometimes they can be more noble than the truth.
Back in the present, Phainon is meeting with the cat and tells her soon the Flame Chase will be setting out to grab Aquila's core flame. As a result of them being away, he's concerned the cleaners will try and snatch Kefali's core flame, so he's asking her to safeguard the core flame. She then reveals that the Flame Reaver has been stalking Akama recently, and with Aglaea gone and the rest headed up to Aquila, the Flame Reaver is certain to move on Kefali's core flame as well. She says, however, she can handle both parties, but says Phainon owes her big after this. We then swap on over to Hysilens at the Grove, who's reminiscing about her hopes and dreams. Something about making NPCs in a hero's legend feel good or some shit. She uses her ancestor Celiose as an example. Celiose is a revered legendary hero who slayed Aquila and ushered in the Flame Chase journey, but no one talks about the gosh darn NPCs in her story. It's then Donhung shows up and Hysilens explains she's here to perform a bloodline ceremony that will create a rainbow bridge to the sky, allowing them to reach Aquila. This involves contacting her ancestors, the first of which is a soul in the Grove. Donhung was here just to read. Hysilens finds the soul, reawakens it, and it's an old dude who gives her his blessings. With 1 down and 2 to go, the next soul is at the Vortex of Genesis, which prompts Donhung to want to try out a new secret Fagutian water art he's been practicing that can just send her right to the Vortex. It works, and by chance we find Cipher and Triby there as well. Cipher was just leaving, but before leaving gives Triby a letter and says she'll have to wait till night to see what's really inside. Hysilens then interrupts and introduces herself to Cipher, who does the same in turn, although Cipher remarks she thought the descendant of Celiose would be bigger. Funny to note, Cipher is over 1,000 years old, so she could have seen Celiose in the flesh. Cipher then zooms off, prompting Triby to leave so Hysilens can summon another soul who says something interesting, which is she once sought Tribios for a prophecy which states this.
At the end of the Rainbow Bridge, the Sky Folk will mend dusk and dawn.
No one knows what it means, though. Regardless, this ancestor gives Hysilens her blessing. Hysilens zips back to the Grove and shares what happened with Donhung. The poignant nature of the prophecy concerns Donhung, but he doesn't dwell on it too much. The last ancestor is in Castrum Kremnos, and when talking about her son and Krateros, this ancestor is Hysilens' grandmother, who retells Hysilens a childhood story one more time about the legend of Celiose. Whilst fighting Nikador, Aquila lost 99 of her eyes, leaving just 1 left. It's then Celiose, a Chrysos heir, ascended with her 2 companions, the lion Solibus and the horse Lunibus. Together, the 3 of them challenged Aquila, and a great battle ensued in which they took out Aquila's last eye. While they came out victorious, the consequences were dire. Aquila bled poisoned blood below, their body fell, and the sky fell too, prompting Celiose to enter Aquila's body and merge with the Titan to hold the sky up, before leaving one final message that her descendants will be blessed and cross the rainbow bridge in the sky and reclaim the core flame from her hands. Some days pass, and the day of the campaign against Aquila has finally arrived. We get a hero send-off at Dawn Cloud, and Hysilens leads the way to the skies.
Oh, Rainbow Bridge, please guide us to ascend to the skies once more. Let us soar together.
Many sky fortresses were built in devotion to Aquila, so formidable they could even take on Castrum Kremnos. Sadly, internal strife amongst other things led to their downfall, with the most notable of the division amongst the sky folk being the conflict between the sun folk, who just, really like the sun and bright things, and the rain folk, who just really like the rain and dark things. Celiose, who grew enraged with the constant strife between the 2 clans, eventually decided to kill the god they worshipped. Kinda. Celiose neither killed Aquila nor recovered their core flame, but instead merged with them and became one with the Titan. We come across a celestial mural we need to light up, but have no idea how, so we have men bring up the past and hear a rain folk in mid-prayer speaking about how Aquila avoids dark clouds. Apparently, the Sun folk use this as proof Aquila favors them. We then question why Aquila would avoid storm clouds, but move on to a Sun folk who tells us Aquila has left a mark of manifestation on the golden clouds. We figure he means the celestial mural. Another memory shows a rain folk killing a Sun folk. Good folks. Good folks these guys are. The Sun folk long oppressed the rain folk due to their belief that they were favored by Aquila, which caused the rain folk to begin to resent Aquila. Hysilens does the voodoo to activate the mural, and before long, the mark of manifestation appears. Because Aquila runs from dark clouds, we decide to use this fact to trap the god by changing the weather on the mural. While trotting on, we come across a Pegasus who Hysilens later recognizes as Lunibus. Lunibus leads us to Solobus, who's been corrupted, so we fight to free the beast, and the two regain consciousness. When Hysilens introduces herself as a descendant of Celiose, Solobus says she smells nothing like her. Odd. The two agree to guide us to Aquila and do as such. We learn from Solobus that until Celiose and them took Aquila down, everyone thought the god favored the Sunfolk. However, upon the Titans merging, they learned the reason Aquila fled dark clouds was due to its innate fear of the black tide and thus dark spaces. As such, the people misinterpreted this as favoritism towards the Sunfolk and used this as a tool for oppression. We set up dark clouds on the next mural, and just before sending us off, Hysilens asks Solobus if it's okay if they peep into the past to distinguish fact from myth regarding Celiose's legend, and he says sure, fuck it, why not? We learn Celiose was a daughter born from the bloodline of both clans. The people didn't take too kindly to her plan to kill Aquila. She hated Aquila for killing people who tried to cross the sky, and she hated the Sky Folk for deep-throating Aquila to the point that they fight amongst themselves. So she decided to hit at the root of all the problems, Aquila. Lunibus now takes over as our guide, all the while Aquila keeps running. We learn again Celiose was born of two parents from rivaling tribes, and as a result, had no tribe truly accept her. They hated her, rather, but she did not hate them in return. However, when they found out she was a Chrysos heir, then she was banished. We then learn Ika is apparently a descendant of Lunibus. Phenomenal. We change another mural, causing Aquila to flee yet again. This time, the god went up. We think for a moment Aquila intends to fly above our reach, but then reason perhaps the curse of the sky doesn't come from Aquila, and they too are bound by its rules, and it's someone or something else that won't let Amphoreans leave the planet. We get another glimpse into the past. Celiose returned to the Eye of Twilight after being exiled. She forgives humanity, says she'll walk this path on their behalf. But yeah, Aquila gotta die, because, after that, surely humanity is gonna love one another again, and no more fighting. We head forward and meet with Solobus once again. The two explain that after killing the people's beloved god, they looked towards the ground and unexpectedly saw the people fleeing in terror, trampling one another. Hysilens notes the stark difference in the legends, with Phainon noting legends often wash the cruel reality. Solobus and Lunibus then tell us the truth of what happened 1,000 years ago will soon be revealed to us, asking Hysilens if she's ready. She says yeah, and we continue forward, catch up with Aquila, and it's then Lunibus and Solobus state they can reveal Aquila's true form. Hysilens pleads with Celiose, but gets no response. In any case, we activate another mural and witness the true history for ourselves. The harmonized world with no division Celiose dreamed of following Aquila's death was non-existent. Instead of Sunfolk versus Rainfolk, it simply became worshippers of Celiose versus the old Skyfolk killing one another. Another mural in Revelation later, we see a follower of Olds pleading with the Cleaners, and one of the Olds are Kynesses. Because let's not forget, there have been like 27 of these bitches. The Cleaners accepted, but only to kill the Chrysos heirs within the Skyfolk. Hysilens wonders what Celiose thought of all this, and one final mural reveals the answer. Celiose had enough. With her boundless love for humanity met with betrayal, she loved them no more. She ordered Solobus and Lunibus to slaughter all the humans in the Eye of Twilight and make them one in the golden lava bath beneath them. Phainon, who's been wildly different since Aglaea's I shouldn't say wildly, but he's been more, calculated, says he can't condemn the choice of Celiose. Upon touching Aquila's core flame and realizing that God never cared for humanity, Celiose, who had now turned her back on humanity, decided she wanted some of that and had Solobus and Lunibus look for a way to fuse herself with Aquila. Upon learning this, Hysilens wonders whose wish her ancestors had been guarding, and the answer is revealed through one last glimpse into the past. Celiose ordered the death of this unnamed Skyfolk who revealed herself to be a Chrysos heir who made a deal with Celiose. In exchange for sparing her life, the lady promised Celiose her story would be passed down through the generations and sung by her descendants until the prophecy that Celiose heralds swallows her core flame as well. Celiose lets her live and says that she will await the one destined to arrive and mock them when they do. Hysilens, realizing the truth that she's descended from that one random-ass nameless Chrysos heir, still holds firm in her convictions. Phainon states that Celiose only focuses on the sins of humanity and not the good. Solibus and Lunibus state after 1,000 years of waiting, their views on humanity have warmed watching all they've accomplished down below. Hysilens then gives a pro-humanity speech, and the gang is finally ready to slay the Titan beast.
I will not be overwhelmed by the darkness of humanity. Face us, Avatar of Sky!
Weather please you, Titan incarnate! Indulge in this, and taste the fiery blaze of Dawnmaker!
If you could still hear my voice, Lady Celiose! Behold, the strength of those who pledge to save the world!
That hurts.
Let's try it this other way. We can do it all! Trust me. Together, we can do anything!
That will not defeat us. Take all together!
I shall remember this warmth. I grant you this, as you wish.
It's coming! Set! Like the west wind, away we go! With the will of the flame chase, we will triumph over the cruel gods and take back our skies!
Embrace new life, Pollux.
Wish that death may protect us.
Guys, please calm down. Watch my moves,
Life is pleased, wilt here.
Is this how it feels? Remember that!
We want to turn this place to scorched earth! That will not defeat. Take all together!
Embrace new life, Pollux.
Give us the core flame! With this, we can soothe the world's pain!
I only wish that death may protect us.
Let's finish this! Slice off their wings!
You too will be cleansed with gold!
Quick, behind me!
firm. It's a long way down. Let's end them before we crash into the pool of gold.
Trust me.
Together, we can do anything!
Good! With the will of the flame chief, we will triumph over the cruel gods and take back our skies! It's coming! Set! Fighting the west wind, away we go!
I grant you this, as you wish. Embrace new life, Pollux.
Please calm down.
I only wish that death may protect us.
Underestimating us will cause
Storm clouds are gathering.
Are you ready to sever the lightning?
Friends will not defeat us. They all work together. Like you.
Please, wilt here.
Thunder and lightning are the cries of their fury. With the will of the flame chase, we will triumph over the cruel gods and take back our skies.
Embrace new life, Pollux. I only wish that death may protect us.
There is another world waiting to be saved. We have no intention of dying here with you. Titan! Melted to nothing!
Aglaea's golden bracelet does some fuckery, all the while Aquila's core flame descends and Hyacinth claims it. The place begins falling apart, and Phainon becomes fixated on retrieving Aglaea's bracelet.
The prayer of power.
Come on. We have to get out of here.
shall have my final bath in warm and radiant gold.
The entire place begins rapidly falling apart, so we run until an old friend comes to visit us.
The Titan! Their core flame has already... Could this be... Celiosi?
Twisted form. Did the black tide bring me back to life?
The core flame has been taken, yet they still move. Lady Celiosi, is that you?
Let's try it this other way. Remember that. Trust me. Together, we can do anything! I grant you this, as you wish.
Hero, witness the children. Return one to this world. That hurts a bit.
Crush them thorns!
Return one to this world.
I shall remember this world.
It's coming! Scepter! Fighting the west wind, away we go! Here it's with this gentle storm, I'll make you come back to your senses, Lady Celiosi!
Embrace new life, Pollux.
Take off the cover!
I only wish that death may protect us. Please, wait here.
Celestial fury!
Are you hearing the echo of the apocalypse? Stop, Lady Celiosi! Hero, witness the children of human. Please calm down.
Remember that. As I grant you this, as you wish.
Return one to this world. Watch my moves closely. It's coming. Set. Fighting the west wind, away we go!
Trust me. Together, we can do anything!
With this gentle storm, I'll make you come back to your senses, Lady Celiosi.
I shall remember this moment.
Embrace new life, Pollux.
I only wish that death may protect us. Please, wilt here.
Punish the children of humanity!
Ancestors, heaven.
We must bring light to these dark times!
With just a glimmer of light, I'll be able to pierce through the clouds.
Use mine, Hyacinth. I am the one who bears the world. I am the blazing sun destined to rise!
Your flame, bestow upon us the healing rainbow! Heroes, witness the children of humanity. Return to this world. Hero of the sky, awaken!
Crush them thorns!
Embrace new life, Pollux.
I only wish that death may protect us.
Let's
First and only God that Dawnmaker will slay! It's you!
Heroes, help us! Hero of the sky, witness the will of humanity!
Children of humanity, you have overturned the judgment I once cast in disillusionment, beginning with a lie disguised as a heroic legend passed down for millennia. A grand epic of creation has been written. You are worthy of a new dawn.
We swap on over to Cipher in the past during her time at Dawncloud, who seemingly found the gem of all worlds. She gets interrupted by the chaplain, who confuses her for a lad named Atticus, so she turns into Atticus and confronts the old man, who in his final moments reveals a dark secret known only to him. He heard Kefali's final words, and they revealed that Kefali's protection over Akama would last only 300 years. That's all the time humanity would have to save Amphoreus. The chaplain wants Atticus to tell the people this, as he'd failed to do so. Cipher takes note of this, stating, "It's finally her time to be a hero." We swap over to the present-day Cipher, who's killed some cleaners, and as she steps out, it's the Flame Reaver who's after Kefali's core flame that I guess he senses on her. Cipher mocks the Flame Reaver, says she has Kefali's core flame, and then sets out on a chase and is immediately caught by the Flame Reaver, causing Cipher to give in and hand over the core flame, as her mission was simply to take it. And that's all. But then, Cipher prank. Cipher mocks the Flame Reaver some more, but internally notes no one has ever caught her before until now. She continues running and turns into Phainon, presenting the Core Flame, which causes the Flame Reaver to take the Core Flame and leave, but Cipher pranks. Internally, Cipher becomes unnerved at her inability to shake the Flame Reaver, causing her to climb higher, where she's immediately got again by the Flame Reaver. Cipher then remarks if it weren't for her, Amphoreus wouldn't exist anymore, but the Flame Reaver, simply fixated on the Core Flame, says it has to be him. Cipher then decides to fight the Flame Reaver, cause fuck it.
See you around, Mud!
Only a mindless fool would fall for the same trick 3 times in a row. Victory is mine, fiend.
We got a flashback to Cipher posing as Atticus giving a speech to the people of Amphoreus, and in it, she tells them that Kefali's final words before going silent were that the Dawn device would protect Akama forever, and as a result, they should all hold a 100-day celebration to celebrate this fact and turn Kefali's words into faith.
The light of the Dawn device
Never fades. Kefali's protection has no end.
Thus turning a lie into reality. In the present, Cipher realizes the truth behind her death prophecy, as in the end, she died over a coin. She apologizes to Atticus before revealing the reason she left Akama was because Aglaea was too good at reading her, and as such, her lies, most notably the one keeping the world together, would have been exposed. She wishes once more to see Aglaea's shop or to be scolded by Tribby, and in the end, she's glad she did something for the Flame Chase. Cipher calls out to Aglaea, begging her to say something, who says nothing in turn, until she does, calling Cipher the hero of Amphoreus, the one who betrayed the world to save it. However, with Cipher gone, so too are the lies.
If there were a lie so brilliant that it could fool everyone, wouldn't it simply become the truth?
Lies will always be lies, Cyphera. But sometimes they can be more noble than the truth.
Back with the gang, Hysilens learns through the Core Flame the Dawn device protecting Akama has run out, and night has consumed all. Mem senses chaos down below, and Phainon struggles to figure out the cause. Hysilens beseeches everyone to return to the city, but asks Dan Heng to zip her to the vortex so she can take the Core Flame, take the trial, and return to the sky to personally protect the people. Dan Heng does as she says, and it's now Hysilens realizes the meaning of the words behind Tribby's prophecy for her people. Hysilens admits the Core Flame, bids farewell to Lunibus and Solibus. Celiose also speaks and sort of just apologizes. Back with Phainon and friends, we head to grab Kefali's Core Flame, and Phainon reveals that because we are in the end times, he intends to grab the last Core Flame and activate Era Nova, simply praying Anaxa was right. At Kefali's Core Flame, we see Kindness praying, wish death upon her, open the box holding the Core Flame, only to get Cipher pranked, which Kindness takes credit for. Phainon trusts in Cipher, assuming she and the Core Flame are at the vortex, and before leaving we kill Kindness. We continue running before being stopped by the Flame Reaver. Phainon states the stakes are too high, so we must avoid fighting him and run the other way. Eventually, the nigga just reappears and says dusk has descended as ordained, the sky has returned, and the world must be reset. Phainon is confused, as if the ending the Flame Reaver seeks is the miracle, then why stop them? But the Flame Reaver doesn't answer, so we fight.
Leave this to casters and me.
Over here!
Go!
We find rainbow barriers protecting the people, meaning Hysilens has returned to the sky. While running towards the barrier, we find my nigga, Cartonis. He says Trinnon is waiting for us at the vortex and the Core Flame of Kefali is with her. We are then interrupted by the bitchiest of bitch niggas. Cartonis orders us to go and says if he dies fighting, then it will be a noble death. As we continue, we're interrupted by the Flame Reaver. This time, Don Hung is up to bat and tells us he won't die no matter what, before leaning forward in his chair.
This power, unfamiliar. Who are you?
We continue forward, and right before we head to the Vortex, Phainon reveals we aren't coming with him, as he made plans beforehand to have us leave Amphoreus, as he won't let us die here, and there's no guarantee the miracle will see us into the next cycle, as we're outsiders. But above all else, the Trailblaze cannot end here, and hopefully one day we'll meet again. The water is gone, but Trinnon appears, and the letter Cipher gave her turns into Bartolos, who reveals the core flame is within him. He also informs Phainon of Cipher's great lie, and that he is Zagreus. Zagreus reveals the one reason he lives despite Cipher's death is because he has the core flame of life within him. Phainon wonders then why Zagreus would give up the core flame, given the Trickery Titan is said to be especially greedy, but Zagreus reveals his pursuit is far greater than one simple life, and all they've ever sought was to work with Cipher to create the greatest lie ever, the 1 in 100 million lie that saves the world, and as such, all they have to do now is hand over the core flame, even if it means they die. And just before handing it over, reminds Phainon that what saved Amphoreus wasn't the great world-bearing titan Kephili, nor the kind time titan Orynyx, but the scorned titan Zagreus and the thief Cipher. Trinnon opens a Yanis gate to the Vortex, exhausting her remaining Yanis power. Phainon gives his Gettysburg Address, and Trinnon states that despite everyone's passing on the journey, they will all see one another tomorrow.
All shall bid farewell to one, and that person alone will witness the miracle. Such is destiny.
Become the dawn. Deliver.
Over to Herta, she's taken aback at the apocalyptic state of Amphoreus and says maybe Screwllum may have been onto something. Herta then states Lygus isn't dead and they probably just destroyed a fake body, as something is still defying them. Screwllum states it'd take too much work to try and pierce this world's defenses, so they cannot intervene yet. Herta remarks they should have brought yet another genius in Stephen, before stating it's no wonder the Garden used the Express to find the truth of this place, given it'd be impossible otherwise, and that it was likely curiosity that led to Akavili's downfall. Herta wonders if Kephili has something to do with the Lord Ravager on this planet, but Screwllum says the priority right now is finding the Nameless, and in addition, Herta reveals that Black Swan told her March 7th is also somewhere on Amphoreus trapped. Herta then says something buttering. The thing that once caused chaos across the universe that didn't cease until she came up with a way to lessen its effects still exists in a lost corner of the cosmos and still functions. This machine birthed the Lord Ravager, and the source of Amphoreus' tragedy is the Emperor's Scepter of Rupert II. At the Vortex of Genesis, Phainon's name is blurred out, and he's shocked to see Lygus there. Lygus remarks he's lost count how many times this has happened, and says he's simply here to watch the miracle of Genesis. Phainon doesn't like it, but Lygus states he's been watching everything. He's been looked at by the distant stars and has seen the darkest futures, and will become the most loyal reader of epics, consuming the valor of heroes. Phainon is caught up by the distant stars remark, but Lygus tells him not to worry about it and finish what he came to do. Just as Phainon is about to submit Kephili's core flame, he senses someone behind him. Lygus laughs and wonders if the endless cycles will see something new happen right now. Cyrene responds it will, and that this story will be like none of the others that came before it, and asks Phainon if he thinks the same. We later get a text from the Express stating they met with Herta and Screwy at the Seclusion Zone. You can go and find out what they talked about, and we see the gang discussing, wondering which Lord Ravager is on Amphoreus about to erupt. Herta likens Amphoreus to a safe box, as there's too many high-powered beings there, Emanator and above, on the planet, stating if they were to come to blows, it'd be worse than the Chadwick incident. That's a callback, a little Pentagon callback. They all then begin discussing the machine. Lygus, and Herta reveals that to beat the machine, she brought her own machine. Screwllum immediately states Herta probably never actually entered Amphoreus, but rather a space-time firewall created by Lygus to keep her from the real world. They all then discuss emperors, scepters, with Amphoreus being protected using a space-time barrier. Screwllum asks if they know what the Emperor's Scepter are. When the gang says no, Herta explains the Emperor's Scepter belonged to Rupert II. It belonged to a collection of scepters and is powered by the anti-life equations and was created to simulate destruction scenarios for civilizations. No one has actually dared to use a scepter as they're far too dangerous. Most were sealed or cast away, but Screwllum says he once found one that escaped detection. Its operator was gone, but it was still brimming with power. It protected itself by warping time, before eventually continuing with the simulations of destruction in the world within it, and after centuries of this endless cycle, descended into madness. As such, Screwllum recognizes the same happening to Amphoreus, and wonders if the world is simply a lost Scepter simulation, with Lygus as the operator, or even another Rupert on the planet. In the final scene, Screwllum says he has a device that will allow them to bypass Lygus's firewall, and so thus that's how they were able to visit Amphoreus. This all takes place before Herta and Screwllum visits the world. Damn, I guess that's the end!